what's going on. If you've been under an internet rock for a couple days, about 5 or 6 days ago, Sargon, who's a big YouTuber, has about 800,000 subscribers. He's been doing it for a long time, was banned on Patreon. Now, quickly, for those of you that don't know Sargon at all, Sargon, when I started years ago, let's say 5 years ago, when I started really realizing that something was rotten on the left, and I saw how that was so connected to free speech, and then I saw the rise of these social justice warriors who were hysterical and wanted to silence everybody. And then all of this was leaking into what I saw was happening with the progressive movement. When I started talking about that on YouTube, everybody was saying, you've got to go talk to Sargon of Akkad. You've got to talk to him. He is the guy that has been sounding the alarms on this thing. You got to talk to him. Anyway, I did end up talking to him on his channel. And I tell you that because he was sort of the first one of the liberals that was like, guys, what's going on with us? We're not acting liberal anymore. And then, of course, that leads to everything that I've talked about over these couple of years, right? Like, the left is no longer liberal. The progressives have purged their free thinkers, and it's become an authoritarian movement that is against liberalism, which is rooted in the individual and live and let live attitude. Okay, so Sargon is not a nobody. He's not just some random YouTuber. He's actually been in the studio. I've interviewed him. His name's Carl Benjamin. You might be interested in finding it out. Eric Weinstein had an interesting comment on Carl that he told me the other day. He said he's sort of a blue collar intellect, which I think is actually a great compliment. It's like he's not a pure intellectual, like, you know, that is studied at all of these universities for years and years and went on to become a professor and the rest of it, and published author, etc. But he knows these ideas in and out. But he's blue collar in that he's a regular guy. He's a bit of an admitted troll. He likes fighting with people online. He loves meme makers. He was sort of born out of Gamergate, all of those things. Okay. The point is, the guy is not a racist. And here's what happened. Or as far as I know, the guy is not a racist. But let me tell you why he got banned. He was banned because Patreon found a video a few days ago, from 10 months ago, from February of this year, on another channel, not even his channel, where he was being interviewed over audio with someone, and the guy's not a native English speaker, so there's a little bit of stilted conversation. And Sargon says the N-word. I think he says it at least twice. Now, he was saying it because he was trying to use the language of the alt-right against them. He was mocking their use and the way they think about certain people based on the color of their skin, okay? So I even said, so now let me back up for a second. So when I found out that Sargon got banned, I immediately texted Jack Conte, who is the CEO of Patreon. And I've had Jack in this studio, okay, right across from me, where this computer is, basically. He sat there. And that was when Lauren Southern was banned. And Jack Conte said that we do not ban people over speech. We ban people over manifest observable behavior. M-O-B, mob. You can't make that up, people. Mob. Okay, that's what they ban people over. Mob behavior. Irony? Yeah, what is, that's not even irony. It's so ridiculous. It's not even irony. Anyway, he used my platform to say what his company's policy were, and they were not about banning people over speech. Also, he had made a point of saying, and it is in their terms of service, that it has to be an infraction that occurs on their platform. So in this case, not only did Sargon not say the word on their platform, it wasn't even on his YouTube channel that he's promoting for Patreon, right? It was on someone else's channel, a small channel with like 4,000 subscribers in this case. So this went against all the terms of service. They booted him without any warning and no chance of appeal or anything like that. And people are seriously pissed right now, and I get why they're pissed. I'm pissed. And on all the last 3 days, I mean, this basically, I've had a lot going on these last couple of days as I finally ended the tour with Peterson, although we're continuing again in the new year. But we taped like 5 shows in the last 2 days. We're finishing seriously strong for the end of the year. We got some great stuff coming. But this has taken every other moment of my life, because this is a direct, not only is it related completely to free speech and everything that I talk about constantly and what's going on with these platforms and these companies, but it's also directly related to my business. So just FYI, at the moment, we've lost about 500 patrons, and that's been, I think it's around $5,000 or $6,000 a month that we've lost. Now, most of the people have messaged me and said, I'm really sorry, Dave. I love what you're doing. This has nothing to do with you. This is a stand against Patreon. Now, the funny thing here is that I'm actually at one level, I'm very inspired that these people are you guys, right? You guys are just like, you know what? Fuck this. I can't take this shit anymore. We have known this is coming. These lines of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable keep moving and moving and moving. And Sargon, I don't know everything about the guy, but if this guy is the type of person that cannot be on a platform, then half the people I know probably can't be on a platform, and that may include me, and that probably includes you. So we keep letting these things move. Again, it doesn't matter what you think about Alex Jones, but you take out one. It's not like when they take out one person, they're like, we got one person, we're good to go. Let's pack it in, guys. Let's find a new hobby. It's like, oh, well, who can we keep moving? Who can we keep moving? Who can we keep moving? And the thing is, when I started my Patreon Hangouts today, so this is the day that we do the rewards where I do these small Google Hangouts with people. Right before I started, you can look at my last tweet or 2 tweets ago, Vox, that awful steaming pile of poop that is Vox, which is funded to hundreds of millions of dollars a year, yet is obsessed with a couple of YouTubers, wrote a piece where they're calling a whole bunch of us, once again, the usual suspects, they're calling a whole bunch of us alt-right and reactionary right and the rest of it. And it's like, man, well, you keep doing that, and then eventually, why wouldn't these platforms boot us? So I have a vested interest in having this thing stop, because eventually it's going to come for me. And by the way, if you like the things I'm talking about, it's probably going to come for you too. So I'm oddly inspired on some level that people are kind of standing up and they're saying, we're not going to put our money to companies that don't support what we believe in, or at least respect free speech and whatever else. And then at the same time, I'm taking a business hit, so I'm not sure what to do. So let me just throw out just one quick little promo thing here. If you can go to Dave Rubin, not if you can, if you'd like to, go to daverubin.com/donate. You can donate there and keep the show independent. We are 100% independent. I am my boss. I am the CEO of this company. We have several employees now. The morning that this all went down, we just actually flipped one of our part-timers to a full-timer. I'm super proud of what we've built here. We've built a great community beyond just the conversations we're having, all of that. I've traveled the world this year and met thousands and thousands of you guys. It's all good. It's all good. And if you want to help us keep it independent and you're not happy with what's going on Patreon, you can go to daverubin.com/donate. You can do a one-time donation or a monthly donation, PayPal, credit card, doesn't matter. Okay, so that I just wanted to say that because a lot of you guys are asking me. I spent the last couple of days really, really, really trying to figure out what to do about this. I wrote a statement that I almost published where I was going to announce that I was leaving Patreon. I was going to do something nuts. I mean, a normal person in business doesn't voluntarily kiss 65 or 70% of their monthly revenue goodbye. But I was going to do it because I really thought, like, we're not going to get many more of these moments. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like you don't want to swing too early when something's happening. You don't want to swing too late. You want to swing right at the right moment, but we don't know when that right moment is anymore. These bans and these shadow bans and algorithmic nonsense, it all seems so arbitrary and ridiculous that we don't know when it is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's very possible that right now there's a Google engineer watching this right now going, oh man, I hope he will just slip up and say something, say the word that Sargon said so I can give him the boot too. I mean, we just don't know what the hell is going on here. But I do know that the CEO of Patreon sat in my studio and said, this is about behavior and these are about things that happen on the platform. And either he changed or he lied to me or he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm not even making this up to throw Jack Conte under the bus. Being a CEO of one of these companies probably sucks. And every day you're just under assault from social justice warriors who want to destroy another human being. And by the way, this is permeating society at every level right now. The Oscars can't even find a freaking host because they had Kevin Hart and then apparently he said faggot and now he can't host the Oscars. I mean, everything is just nonsense and drivel, and we must stand up against it. And I think you guys are getting a little bolder in standing up against it. I meet people who are starting to get more engaged. I think people are realizing it's coming to all of our doorsteps if we don't do it. And again, as I say every freaking week, I'm just some guy. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm not a superhero, but we've got to get better at this. We've got to get better at organizing and fighting this. Anyway, what I've realized is it would not be wise or make any business sense to just kiss 70% of my revenue goodbye and hope that a whole bunch of people are going to go and donate on my site. There's a lot of things I want to do on that end to fix things. But what I would say is at the moment, if we can migrate as many people from Patreon and new people over to daverubin.com/donate, it will give me the leverage I need to do what I think is right. That being said, what you can do it or not do it, it's all good either way. We'll figure it out. And I'm not sitting here like crying me a river. I want to solve this problem, and I can't get into all the conversations I've had about this, but many of the people that that you know and admire, who are friends of mine that have been on the show and all that, they're thinking about what to do too. Like everybody is. I think I can say that much. Everybody is realizing this is a escalation of this. That if we let this guy go down and we don't make anything of it, it's not about him specifically, but if we let another person go down who doesn't deserve to go down, it's coming, and it's getting bolder every time because nobody stands up to it. So we got to start standing up more. So I'm happy